Hey everybody, Ian Lee here. Hope y'all are doing well. In today's video, I want to share something with you, a general concept, and of course we'll take it into a specific instance. This is something I've been playing with and thinking about a lot recently. And it's this idea of taking a comping idea. So in terms of how you're accompanying another player, maybe you're accompanying yourself, you're playing solo, whatever that looks and feels like, and turning it into some single note lines, letting the way the voice leading happens in that chord set open up some ideas for how you might play over that chord change in a tune. So what I'll be specifically going over today is How High the Moon, the first two bars. I was listening to this recording that I stumbled upon, and I will link it in the description so you can have a listen to it as well. It's fantastic. It's Barney, Kessel, Sonny, Rollins, and I'm blanking on the bass player. Well, you can look it up for yourself when you see the recording. Sorry, bass player that I can't remember your name. But it's just the three of them as a trio, at least in this particular recording. And they're playing over How High the Moon, and Barney does some great comping. And so I've learned a little bit of it, and I wanted to just look at these first two bars over G major and How High the Moon, and this little thing that he does with his chords. And then talk about how we might be able to turn that into some single note line ideas and use it for inspiration. You know, I've heard a lot of great players and a lot of great teachers in the realm of jazz and of improvisation say, it's not that you need to know 1,000 things, it's could you know 10 things and turn them into 1,000, right? Like the ability to improvise on some level comes from this ability to take one concept and expand upon it and grow it and shrink it and be able to take this one thing and shift it all these different ways. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and that's what I want to share with you is, okay, you know, often I think we can get locked in as guitar players thinking like, here's my single note lines and here's my chords and separate things. But they're not separate. We don't need to separate them. Often, not even often, I think great comping, no matter what's happening, has melody in it, right? And great melody can spell out the harmony while being very melodic. It's not just running arpeggios up and down or something, you know? So there's opportunities to learn from those things on both ends of the spectrum. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'll quit my rambling. So again, How High the Moon in G, first two bars. Barney Kessel does this really beautiful little move. I'll play it first, then explain it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what's happening here really quick? I've got a B minor triad. You can always, over a major chord, play a minor triad that's based off the third of that chord. So in this example, B is the third of G. So we can play a minor triad off the third, and then we have a major 7 chord from there. Okay, so actually you can notice here that I'm sure you all played that major 7 chord. If I just take the G note away where my pinky is, I have a B minor triad in root position. Okay, now the next thing, we have an E minor triad. Okay, that's an E minor triad in a first inversion. And then what happens here, he just releases that third finger. We have the E flat in the mix now, which makes an augmented triad, and then puts it back. So it's just a little move, just a little something to create some texture, some color. And actually, as a side note, just for fun, that E flat, you could think of that as borrowing in the 6th diminished scale. I'll do a quick side note on this, and I may make a separate video on it, some ideas around that. But in Barry Harris's major 6th diminished scale, we have the major scale, but it also has a flat 6 in it. So for G, that would be E flat. And so we could look at this as part of the major 6th diminished scale, and he's just borrowing really quick, right? So we'll get into that later. Now, so here we are. We have, now how could we create some lines from this? How could we open this up open this harmony up to tell us a new opportunity, to give us something else to learn about the guitar and about music and jazz and how high the moon, and like what's it trying to tell us? What's it want to show us, right? And the great thing is how you would think of this is very different from how I would think of it. I think the concept is important, and then how you bend it is up to you, and that's the fun part. It's like, what are you going to come up with? Okay, so let's see here. What if I just kind of spell out the harmony a little bit, but switch some things up? So what if I went something like that? That's pretty vanilla. It's pretty bland. But so what if I spice up the rhythm? I'm gonna play around just some rhythms off the top of my head. That was fun. I don't like that. That was okay. That was a little more fun. Oh, didn't like that. It's okay, not bad. It's got some nice stuff going on there, but just, first example. You might play with something like this for an hour before you get something that you're like, whoa, that was amazing. That's an unbelievable phrase. So the whole point, though, is that you're bending, you're composing, you're changing, you're practicing how to be an improviser in that sense. Now, the thing that sticks out to me immediately is that I could have a little chromatic motion in a lot of places, but where my brain went is going from this D natural to this B natural. So what if I went? That's pretty cool. I don't want to go. I don't like that. I like leading up into that E and resolving there. That's nice. So you can still see I'm still playing out of these basic triads, but I'm creating lines from them and allowing them to kind of dictate what I may or may not do here. And of course, you can step as far outside of that as you want, but we're just sticking in this realm for now. Okay, so I've got that little bit of chromatic motion. Now, one thing I like to do a lot is to see if I can put Barry Harris's chromatic scale inside of a little chromatic move like that. For those of you who aren't familiar with the way Barry Harris uses a chromatic scale, it's a really great idea. So instead of, in this instance, just going from D down to B, what Barry recommends is that when you have two notes that don't naturally have a half step in between them inside of a scale, right? Because, if we look at the chromatic scale, that's technically just B and C, E and F. But the way scales lay out, depending on the key, is it melodic minor, is it major, is it harmonic minor, is it dominant, etc. You'll have two notes, some often 1 to 2 sets of notes that don't have, maybe more, that don't have a half step between them. Okay, so in this instance, what Barry will recommend is you go a scale tone above before resolving to the last of the two notes. So for example, instead of doing this, I'll play it, it'll make more sense. You can go, and now I can put the whole chromatic motion in there. Okay. And that's starting to sound like a pretty line. Let me play it a couple more times. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if I could play that up to speed yet. Let me try it. A little faster at least. 1, 2, 1, 2. I did that E flat E thing again, which wasn't bad, but it's not what I was going for. It's just my automatic reaction. So maybe it's meant to be there. Maybe I just need to practice more. Anyways, I'll leave it at that for now. I think that's a long enough video, and I hope it gives you an idea of some things that we can do in regards to, again, turning your improvised lines, your kind of single note stuff, into harmony, or vice versa. How can these things connect? How can we stop disconnecting them as guitar players? Like, now I'm playing chords and now I'm playing this, right? And start to bring all of it together and make more beautiful music, which I think is the goal in the long haul, to make beautiful music and to be inspiring to the world. All right, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.